Hello and welcome to the Grindhouse. I am JC, and we'll let our guests introduce themselves. I'm actually looking at YouTube, so if you kind of give me if you see me kind of looking this way, so far everyone's moving.
Yay!
This is awesome. Yeah, so it's working this time.
So you're saying Pat was the problem?
Well,
Guess so.
Anyway, so welcome. So tonight we're going to talk about week 2 and talk
Week
about
3.
what and week 3, because we're all going to be heading into week 3 soon, but we wanted to go ahead and debrief week 2. We are also going to talk about Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play 4th edition as kind of a game you should be playing. And to top it off for our movie discussion, we're going to show the trailer for my favorite movie in the entire universe, The Warrior and the Sorceress.
Admit it, it's Lady Hawk.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lady and the Tramp. I was going, well...
That's a totally different movie.
It is.
Good one.
Also, I think what's kind of interesting, well, it's off-putting maybe to new viewers, is that when the thing comes up after the 70s kind of Grindhouse theater, feature presentation, that it shows that this feature is rated X. It's not particularly rated X. It's rated.
We're too mellow to be rated X.
Yeah, more kind of a PG-13 sort of thing. Maybe R if I get pissed off, but I don't really plan for that. So anyway, JC, I am the host of this show. I kind of want to do this too because it's time for me to do some shilling. If you like what we do, you can go over to patreon.com, grindhouse_media. Definitely, keep lights on and that sort of thing. It does get expensive, running the software and doing all that fun stuff and buying new equipment. So, if you're interested, go for it. We could definitely use more followers. So you can check us out on youtube.com at Show Us Your Crits. And that would bring there. So just give us a like, subscribe. That helps, and it's free. And then you can just ignore the subscription if you want. You don't even have to ring the bell, which I never do anyway. And then last but not least is if you're watching us on Twitch, that is twitch.tv /Grindhouse Media, all one word. So anyway, let me go ahead and hide that. All right, so now that I've kind of blabbed on about this, Terry, why don't you just kind of give a quick hello?
Hi, I'm Terry Mixon. I'm a longtime role-playing gamer, although it's been a big drought in the middle from the 90s all the way until the 2000s. But I'm the curmudgeon of the group. That's what I am.
All right, Catherine.
I'm Catherine. I run Epi's Tome on Simply PF2E. I'm a huge gamer. And yeah.
All right, awesome. And Mike.
Hi, my name is Mike, longtime gamer, and always enjoy discussing, talking, and playing new games.
All right. Mike, we should give you like a cool title or something like DM Mike or something, just to kind of, I'm DM Mike and I'm a game master. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump in. So week 2, let me go ahead and grab the handy dandy printout here. So week 2's objective was the surrounding area. So if you remember last week, we kind of debriefed on our setup, what we kind of wanted to plug in about the game, what we kind of thought was basically the elevator pitch, as it were. Some paragraphs just kind of bringing everything. And then we also talked a little bit about our inspirations for that. So now in week 2, we're taking some of that and starting to build out a map of what our area looks like. So I am going to go ahead and screen share here. And Mike, did you have a map you wanted to share at all, or?
Yeah, I do actually. If we can share it, that'd be great.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and just send me to my GamerGoth email, like a PNG or something, I can bring it up.
Okay, sure. There
No
is
pressure. We're on the air. No pressure at all.
there is a share option also in here. Is that the share option not working?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. If you want to share it on your own screen, that's awesome too. All right. So,
whatever's easier.
that actually would be easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do a share first, just because, and show you what I've done. And it looks really cheesy, so I'm going to apologize in advance. All right. So screen. Don't show me this warning again. It's just your computer will melt if this happens. So that's all good. All right. So there is what I managed to put together.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
My thing. So the main area. So basically, we had to do one large settlement, and that is up here. And it's a little hard to see. Can I? Oh, I can do that. Yay! And then do that. So Thurnshold is a castle or a big keep that was once built by dwarves and abandoned. At some point, the dwarves all left their surface level homes, and of course humans being like, hey, there's free property, so they took it over, and they've been actually there for a couple hundred years now, but still named after the dwarven king that built it. Thurin's mine is completely empty up here where I'm circling with my little cursor. And that is where the dwarves went into when they left, and no one's bothered to go look for them because for whatever. Then we get into one large settlement, which we have Canth, which is kind of a major city. So the outlying area where Thurnshold is kind of more urban. This is kind of your suburb. We had to do two more. So as I threatened last week, we have Otisburg over here beyond the swamps. And down here we have Porthcawl, which is a port town near the sea. I also have, so it also said one major terrain feature. I kind of went a little crazy, so there are many of them. There's farmlands, foothills, thick forest, and swamps, all keyed to the various things here. One mysterious site is the Black Barrows, which I think I pretty much stole from Tolkien. So, but anyway, it's still, and I love the symbol with the skull. And then the one dungeon entrance, and that is the Iron Catacombs, which so far, and it'll be developed out in week 3, is an old prison that has been long abandoned. So I get to kind of do the cool empty prison, haunted, and possibly Saw sort of homages to this. So it's going to be fun. All right, so that's it for me. Let's go on to Catherine next. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think I can, without having to do much. No, okay, so I have to stop sharing. This is annoying. Okay, and then share again. It at least won't give me that weird error. There we are. All right. And Catherine, you want to talk a little bit about your map?
So my map is a lot less impressive than yours, but I had the idea of having like a town be in like the center of the map and kind of like the focus point. It's like the primary location that players spawn in and do their shopping and stuff like that and get resupplied. And then to the northwest, there's a little farmstead. And I was thinking like there could be like maybe an optional side quest there. I wanted to put in a bit like a ridge kind of thing, just like between the farmstead and the city, just to kind of like give it a bit more terrain. And then to the south, I had like kind of this ruined. Like the idea at first was kind of like a ruined town almost, like some kind of war from long ago happened there, and it's like kind of being rebuilt, but not quite there. And then to the southeast, there's like this big foresty area with a little town center, but like I want to make the path for it a bit windy.
Okay.
I wanted to make it a bit more windy than it is there, but only have so much space to work with. I might move things around in the final version. And then up at the top, we have just like the dungeon. I didn't really think of any like names. Wasn't like too keen on like themes quite yet, but I was thinking something like a mysterious cave, maybe a bit of like a glow, that kind of thing.
All right. Well, I mean, the cool thing is, and I take it the squiggly lines are they're roads, right?
They're like a rough roads, like dirt roads.
Okay. And then the ones that are more solid are just more concrete
Like
roads?
paved, yeah.
Okay. All right. See, like at least you put roads on yours. Like I don't even know how my people get along on my map. They just, I don't know, just try to point it to a direction and move. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here. And Mike, would you like to hold on? How do I do this? I use them. Oh, here's the cursor. There we are. All right.
Blow me out of the water, Mike.
Well, I'm going to start because back when I did world building, I did it the old school way, which I don't know if you can see it on the screen here. I'll bring it up to the camera. This is what you order off the internet, and it's the traditional hex paper. So, that's what I did when I was in math class in, grade school, and I would pull out my hex paper and very quietly start mapping while I was, supposed to be doing math equations. And I decided to do it the traditional way. I got about, I'd say about an hour into it, and I said, forget this. And so I went out and actually did purchased a computer program. And let me see if I can share my actual map here. I will hit share. Yes.
Yeah, I used a computer too, so it's all good.
Did you use Campaign Cartographer, JC? I need to know.
No, I did not use it. I know, but that is, I mean, honestly, it's a show on stream. I will definitely say that I like Campaign Cartographer, but you really have to have like CAD skill to really use it. It's good, and I've tried, and believe me, every once in a while I go, I have nothing to do today. I'm going to try to play with Campaign Cartographer, and it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, all right, I'll put this aside and pick it up some other time.
Whoa.
Wow.
You
okay,
win.
you've raised the bar here. Is this shaming? Are you shaming everybody else here?
I once I get going on something, I kind of hyper focus on it. So I'm not trying to show everyone up. I'm just this is just the evidence of somebody who had a lot of time on his hands, I guess.
That's amazing.
That's a really good map. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with the. I'm not sponsoring anyone, but this is a program called Wonder Draft. I was very happy with it. I was able to start using it within maybe 15, 20 minutes, and that's what I really wanted. Is I didn't want to get bogged down in trying to figure out a very complicated program. I just wanted something that I could throw a bunch of stuff up on the screen and be happy with it. So anyway. So this is, if you remember from our last conversation, this is a post cataclysm world. I decided to focus on the kingdom of Gariel, which is basically a human kingdom that is picking up the pieces after this world-ending event. And James, if you could do the honors, just read through the list of stuff that I was supposed to have on the map, and I'm going to try and point it out as you read it off.
Okay, so one large settlement.
Okay, so the large settlement, I'm going to zoom in here, is the capital of Gariel, which is Cornus. I'm terrible with names, so all of these are basically placeholders. If I don't like it, I'll probably end up changing it. But this is the capital city of Cornus of the kingdom of Gariel, and this is where basically all the commerce and activity goes. Okay, what's next?
One large settlement.
One large settlement. So I chose, this is more like a principality. I don't know if that counts.
No, it
but,
does. I would say, yeah.
This is basically a smaller principality that is the neighbor to Gariel. They are very. They don't get along. They're kind of like upset siblings. The Kaler's Wall, which is right here, kind of separates them. It's a natural border to try and keep them from warring, but it is only partially successful.
All right. And I see you actually have an umlaut in one of the names. Very cool. Everyone should have an umlaut in some name somewhere. So is that pronounced? It's Port Dun Blaise?
Yes, I would say Dun Blas or probably
Okay.
Dun Blaise. I would have to put it through Google Translate to get the official wording, but I'm going with Dun Blaise. That's, I think, what I originally had envisioned. I don't know if that's actually what I wrote, though. So.
Okay. There's probably some Swedish person somewhere who will see this and cringe and go, "Oh my God, you don't place the umlaut like between this and that."
Yes.
But we're Americans, and yeah, that's basically it. All right. 2 other settlements.
Okay, so down here is the neighboring kingdom. I haven't named it. It is to be named. So Kaysala is basically the border settlement between the 2 kingdoms. And the other one is Trey Hill over here, which is basically on the other side of the mountain range. And those serve as kind of major points of commerce between the 2 kingdoms. And kind of a borderline, a line in the sand between the 2 kingdoms to say, this is where our kingdom starts and this is where your kingdom stops.
Wow. You see, you even have roads. Like, I gotta get better at putting roads into things. I don't believe in roads. I don't know.
I got to be honest. I had a lot of fun with it, and like I said, it kind of occupied a lot of my time. So
I don't know. Like making roads.
Now I'm just showing off, but I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit and show you guys. There's a bridge. See, I've got little bridges here too that I
wow. And you also have rivers too, which
yes,
I don't.
Yeah, that's the first rivers we've seen in these maps. I was wondering how people drink. What's going on?
Okay, right. So what's the next one, James?
1 major terrain feature.
So this is the Tiantal Forest. This is home to the very territorial elves. If you remember our last conversation, I kind of envisioned them to be eco-warriors or eco-terrorists. This is their area, and everyone has pretty much been encouraged to stay out of the area because the woods are theirs, and they will defend them with lots of arrows. So that's the.
But I'm a druid. Don't shoot me.
Again, an uneasy truce between the humans and the elves, but relations have been strained in the recent years as more logging has been going on in the neighboring areas.
All right. So what is your mysterious site?
So I have 2 that I wanted to bring. One is this is a leftover from pre-apocalyptic event. So this is an old ruins. They call the Bleakstone Ruins. It's in a very difficult area of the sea, hard to navigate to because of lots of rocky shoals and whatnot. Hang on a second. Something's bothering me. I've got random label here. Let me get rid of it. There's just label. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Oops. Go away. There we go. So Bleakstone Ruins is something that is a place of mystery. No one has really gone to fully explore it because weird lights and odd sounds have come from it, and it's surrounded by a rocky shoal, and really just everyone tries to steer clear of it. So that's the first one. And then the second one, which I didn't really give it a name, unfortunately. Well, yes, I did. Ruins of Tarsha. There it is. This is something that is more recent. One of the first human kingdoms or human civilizations that came up. And for mysterious reasons, it was abandoned long ago and nobody knows sure why. And everyone seems to avoid it. And there's lots of stories between some kind of plague to some kind of supernatural event. But everyone has been told to just avoid the ruins of Tarsha and keep walking. So
I've got a question about part of your map.
Yeah.
Before we go on here, go back to the left hand. Scooch till you see the ocean again.
Scooch. Okay.
You've got these two keeps sitting right next to each other on islands. I want to know if those are brothers that have keeps that have this thing going on between them.
Wow, that's pretty observant. You're absolutely right. Talder and Telgaff are brothers, and it is a sibling rivalry that has gone way out of hand.
This is so good.
And then the last one here is the dungeon entrance.
This one is the one I didn't get to name. I have 2 mines. This one here is an actual dungeon. This one actually is a mine. I never got around to labeling this one, so it's called Dungeon. But yeah, that was the dungeon that I had in mind. I hadn't really fleshed it out. I want to say that I ran out of time, but that's where the dungeon would have been, and what I had in mind for it was something. I don't want to say kind of Tolkien, but yeah, essentially it was they dug too deep and they found something they weren't supposed to, and that was really as far as I got with it. And then I hadn't really fleshed it out beyond that.
Wow. So everyone, great job on week 2. And Mike, I guess you get the extra points because look at that. I mean, honestly, that map could be something that I could unfold in a box set. I mean, that's...
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm flattered. Like I said, I had a lot of fun doing it. Making maps has always been something that I've always had a lot of fun and enjoyed doing. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate the feedback.
All right, now we're going to go to Terry. And since Terry's kind of more a observer on all this, feedback on week 2. Anything you want to say about the maps?
As I alluded to earlier, there was a lack of water until we got to the end. There no rivers in the first 2. I was like, hey, you got to have roads and or rivers to move goods and to provide drinking water. So you've got to have something in there. That was my feedback on that. But they all look really good. I mean, Mike ruined it all for the rest of you. The grading curve is now completely and utterly shattered. So
wait, I'll pull out my original map on the hex paper here. That'll make it better.
Yeah, I also went to online. At first I was like, I'm going to do this by hand because I spent stupid money on this book that has hex paper in it. And then I was like, all right, no, I'm too lazy. So this is just going to be easier to do. Laziness wins. Yay. All right. So, wow, week 2 looks great. Week 3 looks like it is going to be a proverbial BITCH. There's a lot.
Oh my gosh, you just bumped us from PG-13 right on up, buddy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wait till the go-go dancers kick in the next segment. So week 3 is the dungeon itself. To quote Mr. Gygax here, step 3 is very difficult and time-consuming. Yes, it is. Each level should have a central theme and some distinguishing feature. A level with a large open area swarming with goblins, where one basic pattern of corridors seems to repeat endlessly. One inhabited by nothing but fire-dwelling or fire-using monsters, etc. Each level is finished. The various means of getting to lower levels must be keyed and noted on the appropriate lower level. A careful plan of what monsters and treasures will be found where on each level is also necessary, and it can take as long as prepare as to the level itself. And that is Gary Gygax, 1975. So what the tasks that we are going to undertake next week, which I don't know if we can put, well, there's probably a lot of software we can use to cheat on this, but anyway, describe the dungeon, to describe the entrance to the dungeon in 7 to 10 words. So basically a paragraph to say what this dungeon entrance looks like.
It's a blurb. That's what they call that.
Create a point-to-point map. This is a simple map with circles, rooms, caves, etc. that are connected to each other by lines, passages, tunnels, halls, stairs, sides. Don't worry about the visuals just yet. This map will help you create a good flow for the dungeon. You can add scale and detail later. Step 3. There's more on the other page too. It's fun. you will draw 3 levels. For each level, include at least 1d6 plus 6 rooms or areas to connect them. All right, so make sure they are not connected like a string of pearls, all in a line. At least have half the rooms and more. But we're all gamers. I think this should be a pretty easy task. Include several, say, D3 plus 1 ways up and down per level. So you're going to make it accessible because unlike roads and rivers, yeah, you can't really get to level 2 without stairs or an elevator or a pit to fall through or something fun.
It's a water slide.
Come up with there you go. Come up with 1 theme per level. Okay, so try rolling D3 plus 2 to each theme to generate a sort of budget. This will help you remember to reinforce the themes multiple times per level. So, so themes are just kind of, so it's not like the generic first edition modules, which Gary kind of wrote, but, where it's like every room is either empty or it has like a dragon in a 10 by 10 room with 15 orcs and a beholder. And it's like, how did
I'm
this
pretty
even
sure I've been in that
here?
adventure. Yeah.
We all have. That's also the 10th grader writing their first dungeon mode as well. So no harm to 10th graders who probably aren't watching this anyway. So here we go. There's more. Make a list about a dozen iconic monsters and place them in rooms and areas. Okay, so there's the dungeon with the room with the dragon and so on and so forth. Your monsters could also be arranged in a 2d6 wandering monster table. Spread D6 major features throughout the dungeon. Features should be interactive, traps, puzzles, talking doors, magic fountains, that sort of thing. So it's just not kick down. It's not a game of Munchkin. Kick down the door, loot the room, that sort of thing. It's wow, there's a trap here, or wow, there's a waterfall, or wow, there's things. Next, for each room or area, note any treasure. Roll a d6 for each, and if it contains a creature or a feature, there's a treasure on a 1 to 4. So put treasures in your room because it wouldn't be D&D if you went through an entire dungeon killing things and then just kind of left without any treasure. That's bad GMing, I think. 2 more. Name 3 wondrous items and locate them in the dungeon. So artifacts or crazy things that aren't from the DMG. A wondrous items. Does it give an example? No, not
I think
really.
I'd steer clear of artifacts. That's probably a little high maintenance there. Maybe something that's just offbeat.
Yeah, like a ukulele that plays 1920s music when you pick it up.
There you go.
Ukulele of deafness.
And the last one is spend any remaining theme budget adding detail. So meaning unusual smells, weird lighting, odd stonework, statue, or other decorative elements. The extra credit work is map out all 3 levels on graph paper, but I'm going to say, hey, if you have software that does it, or you actually feel like breaking out a pencil and doing stuff, because there's also tons of other map making software that's out there that's easy, like Campaign Cartographer, where we'd be doing mine in like 2 weeks because they'd probably mess it up a lot. So, all right, so that is it. We all have our goals for next week, and again, Mike, I now you have basically gone to the point where I'm just going to go, all right, let's see what Mike has.
You've thrown down the gauntlet.
Oh, I didn't play the new bumper for the Gygax challenge. I'll play it anyway because I just want to show it off. Oops, there we go.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Yep. All right, so let's get on to our next segment. All right, this week on how to play chess. This week on games you should be playing. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share here. Bring us over. So screen. Let's go to window. Let's go here. Share. And I'm going to move us above this time. So where's my little handy dandy thing? There we go. Move us above the screen. So this week on games you should be playing, I wanted to bring up Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play. So one of the cool things about this particular game is that I believe, and don't quote me on it, it is the third official fantasy RPG that was ever published. So D&D, obviously, in the 70s, late 70s, you had, and again, if anyone wants to correct me and put it in the show notes or on YouTube, on the notes, you can definitely yell at me and go, no, you're wrong. I'm fine with that. Tunnels and Trolls was definitely the next one, Ken St. Andre, and that was more like 77. And then I think the two competitors for the next two are RuneQuest, which came around the late 70s, as well as the original Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play, which was kind of the British excursion into the field. So Games Workshop did the original. I actually have a copy of it, and some interesting, very broken rules in it. Like the one that I'll mention is Naked Dwarf Syndrome, because for whatever reason, the way they designed the dwarves was that in armor, armor worked as armor did, but if they had nothing on, they had some incredibly weird, like high defense value. So if a dwarf wanted to run around naked, it would be really, really, really hard to harm them. So actually wearing armor would be a detriment to a dwarf.
Huh.
But the one cool thing about this, and you'll see the tagline here at the bottom, a grim world of perilous adventure. So where D&D was very open. So D&D was really meant to like create your own stuff. I mean, the modules actually didn't come around till the later 70s, and honestly, they were made for convention play. So there really wasn't, it was pretty much a, hey, if you want to create your dungeon, here's all the guidelines, go ahead and do it. And then RuneQuest had its own setting. So the late Greg Stafford used his world of Glorantha in order to set up something for the game. And Tunnels and Trolls kind of had its own world. And again, I'm not 100% sure on. I can't rattle off things from it, but Ken had a lot of ideas for his troll world or whatever it was called at the time. So Warhammer was interesting, and I don't know if it's just because I think sometimes the British can be incredibly devious. Any Brits out there, please no hate. The world is actually very grim, as it says on the cover. It is a alternate version of what Earth was like. I would probably say like late Dark Ages, early Renaissance. So you actually do have gunpowder. Most of that was created by the dwarves, though, and they're very particular about who gets their hands on it. But humans can carry pistols and muskets. So technology is a little bit more than your standard D&D. Also, it's very grim and dirty. Like honestly, the best. If I tell anyone, you really want to get the feel for Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play, any of the editions, go watch the movie Jabberwocky. Jabberwocky is probably, to me, and then there's a couple of others that I think also. Brothers Grimm, if you've seen that, the one with Heath Ledger, that I think Matt Dillon was in that too. But anyway, that movie also gives a very heavy feel. Brotherhood of Wolves, again. So while this is kind of early 1400s, early Renaissance, it does also kind of have a Gothic feel to it, the way the architecture is set up. But it also, like I said, it mimics Earth. So you have places that are pretty much their version of Spain, their version of Britain. Actually, this takes place in their version of Germany. So you're going to notice you got to be really good. And I think Mike can attest to this, and actually Terry as well, because you both played in my initial run of Warhammer 4th edition. And wouldn't you say that there was just a lot of German words you had to get your lips around?
A lot.
Yes, absolutely.
especially the NPCs, all of them had umlauts in their name, and all of them had things that you were just like slurring, just because it's like, yeah, I'm talking to Mr. Vaughn. All right, so I'm just going to go through some of the things here. So beautiful book. The artwork is beautiful all the way through. So first edition was Games Workshop. Second edition was done actually by Black Industries, which was a kind of a subsidiary of GW, but was actually ran by the company called Green Ronin, who's done cool stuff like
yes.
Masterminds and such. And the third edition, we don't talk about third edition, but I will, just because it was actually written by a good friend of mine, Jay Little, who also wrote the Star Wars Edge of the Empire stuff and things like that. It was a different game. It was more kind of like a board game mixed with a RPG. Didn't do quite well, and you literally needed like tackle boxes to carry every game component around with you. It was pretty brutal. Fourth edition is done by Cubicle 7. It's also it's licensed somewhat by GW Games Workshop, but it's a Cubicle 7 production. But beautiful artwork. They updated it for more diversity. The original one, obviously being created by Brits in the 70s, had little to no diversity. I mean, the only diversity it had is like dwarves, and dwarf or an elf. But now they've actually done a lot of work on that, and it's a lot nicer. So just kind of going through some of the artwork. The initial chapter opens up just kind of talking about the land. But even, you don't even have to like read any of it. Oh, you should read it. But even if you didn't read it, you can look at the artwork and just really get a feel for things. So this picture here, and going back to the first page, you'll see this dwarf with the mohawk and the tattoos. So that is actually a special class of dwarf, troll slayers. Basically, imagine a berserker dwarf who really doesn't care if they live or die. Their main job is to go out and hunt giants, basically. But there's troll slayers here. As you can see here, we get more into kind of Renaissance clothing. There are witch hunters and courtesans and all these other classes that you can play. And I'll get a little bit into more of the rules in a second. And again, just kind of really cool imagery here for the game. Just kind of put you in the mood. I got a dwarf with an eye patch here, and that crazy. Wow, did his mohawk get bigger? Hold on, like right here, it kind of looks normal. Looks kind of normal here, and then in this picture, it's like you could hold him upside down and sweep your carpet.
It's all your perspective. You're sitting above it, looking down. It's all perspective.
Oh yeah.
I think the more trolls he kills, the bigger the mohawk gets. I think is what happens.
That should be in the
Fueled
rules.
by their blood.
Yeah, exactly. I get angry and my hair grows like Popeye when he eats spinach. Just all right, and then some mutant animal creatures upon a rock, and again, this is probably the major city here. Oh, this is the docks of the Imperial Majesty Emperor Karl Franz, who is the current ruler of the area as in this version of the game. He was deposed from the other ruler who was there. And then again, just more pictures. And yeah, his mohawk has grown. But again, imagine this place. So it's dirty, it's filthy, a lot of smoke in the streets. So when and honestly, when you run the game, one of the things that you really want to get across is that this is a very filthy place. This is not some clean utopia D&D town where it's like, wow, look how shiny everything is. This place smells. And,
right.
And I think it's just also important to get it across. And again, just some more sights of the marketplace and a witch hunter here, a monk and things. There are, I want to say 30 something particular professions that you can play in this game. I only put in 3 to kind of show you and go over the rules a little bit. But oh wow, there we go again. There's this mohawk. There's a priest here.
It's a zero mage, or a wizard.
That is, I believe, a mage.
Yeah, they deal with death a lot and have like kind of toe on the edge of like necromancy, but never quite actually doing necromancy.
Yeah, so my wife Mary played the mage in our game that we ended up playing, and because we kind of got some of the rules a little off, she like couldn't hit the side of a barn. She
Oh,
had she had a scythe like this one, and it was just funny. Like I think you guys almost TPK'd in that one, didn't you?
Yeah, it was
That big
pretty
old
close.
brawl in the middle of the market. Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. So just before I go into professions and rules, any thoughts from your experience playing the game, like the setting or anything? Just
My thought on it is the setting brings across a level of hopelessness. To a degree, it just feels nihilistic. And I'm not sure that I particularly cared for that. It's a little bit darker and grimmer and nothing really matters than I usually prefer.
I would agree with Terry's comment, and even if you just look at the page you have open, if you look on the my far right, you can see the sun on the wall. He's not happy. That's a very unhappy sun. And so, yeah, just to echo Terry's statement, the whole game is just permeated with this sense of, why even bother? It doesn't seem to matter. Which, I mean, I'm not downplaying that. If that's the type of game you like to play, then go for it. Have a great time, but just be prepared. That's the overall. At least that's the way I saw the game when I went into it. The overall theme was very grim, as they say on the cover.
Yeah.
So if obviously, if you don't think you'd enjoy that type of game, then this might not be the game for you.
absolutely. When we get in the mechanics, you'll see also too that it's not like, look, I have a ton of hit points and you could do anything you want to me, and look, I have death throws. Nah, none of that here. I mean, even if you looked at the adventure that came in the starter set, that's the one we actually used. It was, I mean, you basically got in the middle of, so there was that brawl, and then you got arrested and blamed for it, and then instead of going to prison, you got forced to work labor in their local police department, who was pretty much run by like corrupt officers who was teaching you how to steal. I mean,
Yes.
that was kind of the experience with the adventure.
yeah, I'm very acquainted with Warhammer myself, as my
Oh,
partner
okay.
is really into it, and so I learned a lot from her. And also, one of my friends is really into it too. And yeah, it's a very gritty, very dark setting, but I absolutely adore the magic with it. It feels mysterious and
Yeah.
like terrifying, and I always prefer magic that's like that.
Yeah, magic in Warhammer has a lot of consequences to it if you mess up.
There is there's so um, each like type of wizard has like their own college, and there's one for, I forget what they're called, but they're like the kind of bluey mages. And their whole thing is like fortune telling and seeing the future and stuff like that. And their college is like you can never look directly at it, and no one can like sneak into it because they always know when you're going to be there. And so if you go to like open the door, if you could even perceive it, you'd like immediately be greeted by somebody being like, "Ah, yes, hello, welcome. How can I help you?"
Yeah, it's I don't know. I actually I like it, but then again, I am kind of that person who likes the dirty, dark edge of fantasy instead of being the like clean, happy, high magic fantasy. But
Mm.
again, to each their own. So let's see, what do I have next here? Wow, even more pictures. How many pictures I actually use? Oh, there's a halfling. But again, very almost Renaissance in the way of dress and everything there. Aha! Now we get to the things here. So this is actually one of my favorite classes because it's just the most amusing. So to so the rat catcher. So when we look at this, here's pretty much your stats. Basically, you have weapon skill, ballistic skill. So weapon skill is used if you're going to use swords or anything melee. Ballistic skill is if you're going to use firearm, well, yes, firearms or bow and arrow or crossbow. Um, and then you start getting into your stats like strength. I can't remember what T stands for. I guess I should have looked back
Toughness?
here. Toughness, thank you. And I think this is intuition, agility, dexterity, intellect. Um, ooh, that's fellowship at the end.
Willpower.
Willpower, thank you, and fellowship. So fellowship is kind of like your charisma, getting along with people. And again, as you start getting into the others here, it's kind of like D&D. They all equate, but it's a percentage, and you don't get a whole heck of a lot of basically points to put into it in the beginning. You end up usually with very low stats. So while you might say, all right, cool, well, if I have a fighter character, I at least should have a 50, right? No, you probably have a 35. That's low. I mean, it's you're going to miss most of the time. And depending on the severity or the level of if you're in a really easy situation, you might get a bump to that. So you might get an extra 25%, which brings you up, which makes it a little better. But a lot of times you're just going to keep getting minuses. So it gets a little frustrating. But as you go in your profession, so they don't have classes, they have professions, and they're all kind of based in the world. I'm going to show a couple of others while we're here. But Ratcatcher, so you start with the basic career path, which you get your skills, and they're again also based on percentages. You get a few talents. This character's dwarven, so you get like night vision, resistance to disease, strike mighty blows, strike to stun. So some combat feats here. The trappings are kind of neat because your starting gear is different with each profession. So the trapping that this is why I love this one is that it's a sling with ammunition, a sack, and you get a small but vicious dog. He's part of the trapping. So yeah, you get some like annoying like Prince Charles, whatever, like little yappy dog. But as you actually go up in your profession, you eventually end up with large and vicious dog when you start getting up there. So you can change profession. So you can have a rat catcher who then decides to give that up and become a fighter type or a cleric. So as you start gaining experience, you can change your profession. And it's not like you multi-class basically. And it's not like, okay, well, now that I'm no longer a rat catcher, I don't have access to this skill. No, that is not the case. Ooh, like consume alcohol. Like if you change and go and become a priest, you still have your consume alcohol skill. All right. And I don't know. Just it's kind of cool to play the character who just walks around and basically kills rats and drags them around. We have a duelist. This is another. So the races that can do duelist, dwarf, high elf, human. Actually, Ratcatcher was dwarf, halfling, and human.
Elves wouldn't stoop to killing rats.
No. So the one thing about elves in this in Warhammer is they are the classic high snooty elves. They don't particularly like anyone else. They hate dwarves. So it's very stereotypical.
Is that how my elf came across? I swear, he was just crazy.
No, you played him very on par. So with the duelist, again, you're gonna have some different skills here. Melee, dodge, endurance. Your talents, that is beat blade, whatever that is. District, feint, step aside. But your trapping a hand weapon, a rapier, a sling, and 1d10 bandages. And then as you basically go up, that is going to, so you can then start getting your pistols and multiple hand weapons, and the quality of them goes up as you go along. So again, it's a different. And if you wanted to be a rat catcher who then went into being a duelist, that's great, but you have to qualify for the race. And then the last one here I'm going to show is the envoy, which I believe all races can be: human, high elf, wood elf, halfling, or dwarf. And again, the profession starts with the basics: athletics, charm, drive, dodge, endurance. And then your trappings: leather jack, which is basically like a leather jacket or a vest; livery, so some sort of like either small carriage or and an animal, or you have in a scroll case, and your talents are blather, which is awesome. I want a talent called blather. Etiquette, read, write, and suave. And then as you go up, obviously, you get better clothes, you get better things. And it's not unheard of to pretty much stay in the same profession across the board and gain power that way. But I think if you're really in a campaign and you plan on living more than the first couple of sessions, because that's also tricky, you get things like fate coins and things that you can toss in so you don't die, but ultimately your luck runs out and you end up dying a horrible death usually. But it's a fun game. It's something that if you haven't played, it's interesting. The starter set, which actually comes with a lot of stuff and can get you through a few levels of professions, it's like $25, and it comes with everything. So I would definitely take a look at that, and if you are interested in that sort of thing. Any final words on Warhammer? No? All right. We will jump into our next and last segment. All right. So I'm going to show a preview of this, and we'll discuss it, and then we'll close out. But as I was telling before we actually went on camera, this is honestly one of my all-time favorite movies. It is the cheesiest thing in the world. My RPG setting, Tales from the Fallen Empire, was based on this. Well, inspired by it. I shouldn't say based, although I did take a couple of names from there and kind of intermix them, but for the most part, it's anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and show the trailer, and then we can either laugh, cry, or do whatever. So
Or both.
yeah,
Journey now to an age undreamed of, an age of mystery and magic. Of swords and sorcery. The warrior and the sorceress on a planet lit by twin suns. Evil warlords battle to control the fate of an entire dynasty. A mighty warrior rises out of legend to free an enslaved sorceress.
There was a time when I could command.
And I would obey. Together, they forge the mystical sword, whose blade cannot be broken. The ultimate struggle between good and evil. Sorcery. Dungeons.
I don't work cheap.
David Carradine in The Warrior and the Sorceress. The mightiest of all heroes. the greatest of all adventures. The warrior and the sorceress. Their sacred bond cannot be broken.
All right, and we are back. So, a couple of things I want to throw in about this movie before just some facts here is that it was written and produced by Roger Corman, who has done pretty much all the bad movies through the late 70s and early 80s. He's just kind of known for his schlock movies. Death Race 2000 is another Roger Corman movie, so I'll just throw that one out there. It was filmed in Italy. Some of the pieces were actually taken from other movies from that trailer, just as kind of a. And if you also just want to see a movie where it has more topless and semi-full nudity with people running.
Oh,
Yep. Oh, did we lose him?
I
We
will
lost him.
go ahead and no.
oh,
Oh, there goes his audio.
my disease has
Wait.
traveled.
This always happens when he mentions topless.
No. You need to tone down the excitement level because you're eating up the bandwidth, all right? Just
Yeah.
All right.
go ahead and calm down.
Am I back? Can you hear me,
Yes.
see me?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So there's just a lot of things about the movie so one thing also about the movie is that it was a retelling of Kurosawa's Yojimbo.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. You can see a lot of the movie in there, just a lot of changed facts, and obviously, but warrior comes to town and tries to get two factions to go against each other, and then ends up getting his ass kicked, and then comes back and pretty much kills everybody. So, a happy ending. Have any of you seen this movie before?
It
I
looks
have
vaguely
not.
familiar, so I think that I may have seen at least part of it at some point.
I'm gonna echo Terry's statement and say I might have seen it once, or seen parts of it. It looked familiar.
Oh, we have someone in chat. Hold on. How do you open chat?
You click the chat button.
Oh, okay. Oh, hey, it's my good friend, Gamers on Games. So, howdy. Thank you for watching. We're just kind of winding up Hall of Infinite Orcs. So it actually had a few races in there, or species, or whatever you want to call them, that weren't called out as particular D&D. There was let's see. Oh, okay. I think he's talking about dungeon experience. But quickly, it had these like sand dervishes that I think were kind of orcish. There, and you saw on the screen, there's like a lizard man who was kind of trouncing across, and I just had really bad puppet-looking monsters in the dungeon, but definitely worth it. And honestly, I will. Some night I'll just have to put it on cast and then just invite everybody who wants to see it, because it's. I don't know. You have to experience it. It's again, maybe it's not the movie I should have, because I'm just going to gush over it and say yes, the experience was awesome. But just any feedback from the trailer?
we lost our
Oh.
PG-13 rating.
Yeah,
Oh.
pretty much.
Hey, that boob scene was very quick. It just went by like that.
It definitely is dated. You can definitely tell that the special effects were something else. But no, I mean that's part of the charm. At least I think that's part of the charm of those movies that were made during that period.
Oh yeah.
All right. So anyway, it's a great movie. Honestly, it's very hard to find. I think Tubi has it every once in a while, and it's free on Tubi, so that's another thing. And I actually own the Blu-ray copy and the DVD copy, and a digital copy on Amazon Prime. So yes, because if I can't get on Amazon Prime, then I'll have to go on Blu-ray, and if I can't use a Blu-ray player and I have a DVD player handy, I can watch it on DVD. Otherwise, I can put it in the sunlight and spin the disc for hours.
There you go.
And and watch the movie when I need to see it. But it's definitely a good film. All right. I think that's about it. Speaking of dating, I just want to, or dating oneself. It was funny. I was listening to Prince on the way home from work today. I was stuck in traffic. I was like, all right, I really want to listen to some music. So I listened to some various Prince songs going away. And there was just references in his songs like he mentions Dynasty in one point. And I'm just kind of thinking if a newer generation's like listening to that song, they're going to probably be wondering what the hell Dynasty was. Or in the Controversy album, he basically talks about like Ronald Reagan and a bunch of things that happened during our lifetime. But younger people would probably listen to this and go, what's a Reagan? What is he talking about? So it's just interesting to go back and watch old movies or listen to old songs, because if you just really stop and listen, you're going to go just hear things that probably people who were born in the early 2000s, like a lot of Gen Zers, are going to like just not get the reference to, unless their millennial parents were really into that and then were able to explain it. But that's the only way I know 70s music and 60s music, is that my mom listened to it a lot and I would just kind of ask questions about it. So I understood that. But it's even if you're listening to like old, I was also listening to some old music a couple days ago, like 1920s stuff and early 1930s stuff, and there's just a lot of slang that they used back then that was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. So all right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and end here. Gamers on Games, thank you for being here. I think there was probably some sort of delay, because
he's watching from the beginning, from when he jumped in, because we're seeing his comments.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see, D&D. So to a couple of your comments here, the D&D basic set was giant beetle things from Dark Crystal. Also, that's another
I love
movie.
Dark Crystal.
Yeah, I never watched the Amazon series, but the original.
It was good.
It was okay. It wasn't the disaster that happened with Willow. I heard the Willow series.
I hated Willow.
Yeah, it's but nope.
My dad showed me an episode and he was like, Ren, what even are we watching right now? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to leave.
Yeah, it was. It just it was pretty bad. A lot of it, and also it didn't make another season. Well, there's a shock.
I thought it did.
I was canceled.
I thought I heard it was canceled.
Yeah, okay. It was canceled. And Gamers on Games. Yep, campaign. Someone misses campaign cartographer. I'm sure the whole 5 people in the world.
It's still out there.
It's
still there.
I know, and thank you, Mr. Mixon, for actually getting me involved into it and actually playing with it. It's good. It just takes time and patience, and
you got to invest something into that sucker.
Oh yeah, and there's so many different add-ons you can use on it that it definitely can.
And just to jump in real quick, I that's what I started with. I was like, you know what? Let me try campaign cartographer and see if I can try and get my map going with this. And I was just like, no, I'm sorry. I don't have the time for this. I need something just a little more simple than this. So
definitely fair.
Well, my friend Pete, so he's he knows he's really good with CAD systems. So something like that to him would just be like, oh, this is easy. Look at this, But I think there's really a special way of thinking when you're using CAD that you actually have a very technical mind. I'm not like trying to be mean or anything. Yeah, there's a really special way of thinking to use CAD products. That's not what I meant. It just basically you kind of have to have a technical and a very focused mind.
I'm old enough where I took a drafting class in college, hand drawing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, back when I was in college, I had to learn how to do layout by doing leading and using the various books to get the type, and then you had to set the type a special way and then take pictures.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I said college. I meant high school. I didn't mean college if I said college.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to everyone to say to kind of give a hello and actually a farewell, and then we'll close out the stream. So DM Mike, do you have anything to just say adios?
No, just thanks for listening and tuning in, and we'll see you next time, I guess.
All right. Catherine?
Catch you guys later. There's one thing I want to mention real quick,
Oh,
and that is that Critical Role announced that they're making 2 new tabletop games, Illuminated World and Daggerheart. Both are a bit not very, we don't know what's going to happen with them specifically, but they've been announced. And yeah, keep
Ooh.
your eye out.
Yeah, so and just not to drag things on any longer, but so is it going, are they still going to use D&D 5e as the platform, or are they just kind of going, we're just doing our own thing because we have lots of money now and we don't need you, WotC?
They haven't said, but people have theorized that they're going to use one of the systems, Daggerheart it's called, from now on, because it's basically one of the systems is like very short, meant for like one-shots, that kind of thing, and then the other one is more for longer winded campaigns, and so people are kind of theorizing that they're going to jump to that one instead.
All right, interesting. Yeah, because that's been a speculation for a while if Critical Role is actually just going to leave Wizards of the Coast behind.
Yeah, because the old OGL thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Terry.
I'm Terry Mixon. I write science fiction. Find me on Amazon.
All right. Under which section? Okay,
Just search for
never
Terry
mind.
Mixon on Amazon. You will find me.
All right.
It's true. I found you very easily.
And I am JC, and I'll just go ahead and throw this up there again. So interested in helping keep the lights on, definitely patreon.com/grindhouse media. And that's it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this out, and we will see you probably next week with part 3. That looks like this is very hard to do. But anyway, we'll do it. Here we go.